Hi, I'm going to show you the recreated version of Stephen Curtis Chapman's For the Sake of the Call. This version has a guitar that's in dad-gad tuning, but dropped a half a step, so it's actually in D flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, A flat, D flat, if that makes any sense. So, dad-gad, dropped a half step. You put your first finger on the second fret of the G string, and you get kind of an open D flat chord. That's the basis for this song. If you want to grab the chord chart and the chord diagram, you can head over to my website, dbworship.com, and I'll post it under resources. So let's just walk through the intro really quick, and then we'll kind of take it part by part from there. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your first finger on the D string, and by the way, I'm going to refer to these as E, A, D, G, B, D, kind of the standard string names when I'm calling them, just to make it easier. So put your first finger on the D string on the second fret, and that's kind of that first line, and you're going to bounce between your thumb and your middle finger or your forefinger a lot. You kind of keep this constant rhythm with your thumb on the low E string, and while you're kind of doing other stuff with the other fingers. So the first kind of chord is that, obviously, it just kind of bounces and then lets the G and the B string open up, and then you go back and bounce between the low E and the D string, and then I would call this a D flat over F chord, and you're just kind of bouncing between those two strings for this chord, the E and the D string. And then when you go to this chord, put your second finger on the 5th fret of the low E and your first finger on the 4th fret of the D, creating this G flat or G flat major 9th chord, essentially. And so you're going to grab both of these at the same time, and then just kind of walk up on the G, the B, and the E string, and then grab that's kind of that and so notice kind of I have this shape at first, and then when I walk from the B, G, D string right there, and then I'm going to hit the G and the B and then come back to the D, but open this time. And so that's kind of that progression on that G major 9th chord. That's a little bit tricky right in there. Really pretty. Okay, let's take a look at the verse. I'm going to play along with the track, but at 3/4 speed.
Nobody stood and applauded them. This road would not lead to fame. All they really knew for sure was Jesus had called to them. He said, "Come follow me," and they came with reckless abandon.
Okay?
Yep.
There's a few chords in there. If you're following along with the chord chart, if you have that in front of you, the first two lines of the verse are the same as the intro. So so it does that twice. And then it says B6-9 chord, which is like this. So put your second finger on the 3rd fret on the A string, and your first finger on the 2nd fret of the high E. And then it kind of walks down, but then I kind of hear something like this in there. It might be minor-ish. So either just mute the D string or play the D string on the 4th fret. Either one would probably work. Kind of walks up like that. So this is kind of a bit of a stretch. It's 4th finger on the 5th fret of the high E, and your first finger on the 2nd fret of the low E. And really you're only ringing out 4 strings. You're kind of muting the A and the D. You can let the G and the B ring, and obviously the E. Kind of like that. So sorry, let me go back and explain. This is the B6/9. This is the B flat 7. Okay, as it walks up. And then this would be like the G flat over E flat 2. Then it walks up. So that's the walk up is kind of that G flat over F. And then the G flat add 9. That's kind of a picking pattern there. On that one. And then the D flat sus over B is just that. And note when I'm kind of doing these chords, I'm muting the low E and the D string with my 2nd finger. So you only get 4 strings essentially. And then you walk down for that D flat sus over B flat, and then you're back to the G flat major 9th, except this time instead of being that octave, it's that octave, and that's verse 1. So then it goes back to the intro. Verse 2, same kind of thing, except at the very end, as it's doing that, then it goes to this G. I call it a G flat sus 2, and the only string I'm hitting is the 5th fret on the low E with my 2nd finger. I'm muting the A string, letting all the other ones ring out. But then kind of as he builds up, it goes, Jesus is holding my name. So as he kind of goes like that, throws his first finger on the 4th fret of the G, and then just slides that whole shape up 2 frets, and then goes into the chorus. All right, let's play through the chorus. Okay, so that's the chorus. The D flat, like I introduced at the very beginning, is just your first finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. Just go like that. So D flat, then D flat over F. Kind of just like the intro where we did this, except you're going to keep your first finger on that kind of D flat, like that, and then it kind of bounces around and it goes B flat, which I'm going to play like that. That's your B flat note. Kind of keeping this whole D flat thing happening the whole time, just changing the bass note. And then it kind of walks down to the open A string. And then that's your G flat. And then your E flat minor 11th is, I keep two of these, I fret the E and the A string here.
For the sake of the cause, no other reason at all. For the sake of the cause.
And then wholly devoted to live and to die for the sake of the call. Back to the intro. So that's the chorus. Alright, verse 3, same thing. Let's look at the bridge. It's primarily piano, so all these crazy fingerings of stuff, you can probably simplify that if you want, because you don't hear a whole lot of guitar in there, but let's check it out anyway.
Not for the sake of a creed or a cause, and not for a dream or a promise, but simply because it is Jesus who calls, and if we believe, we'll obey, and we'll answer.
Okay, and so the bridge, kind of the piano stuff, you could do kind of an easy A flat, fretting the 7th fret of the low E, something like that, B flat minor, kind of like that, first fret, really just concentrating on the bass notes, letting the piano take over from there. G flat, just like that, just kind of all one finger notes. And the G flat to A flat, back to G flat, B flat minor, and then G flat over F, B, 6/9, G flat, and then. Alright, and so now let's go over the instrumental at 3/4 speed. I'll play along with the track, but it happens primarily on the G string. That's pretty much what it is. A lot of single note stuff with just ringing out some open strings, but here goes with the track. So that's pretty much what that is. Just kind of. Blah blah blah. So just single note stuff there, pretty simple. And you know what? I think that should pretty much cover the song. Now you know all the chords. At least, and you can kind of figure out the chord chart from there. Alright, there you go.